Technology extends our reach into the world. It gives us access, power, information. That's especially true of technology in this century. Because our technology is more than objects or machines. It's organization, systems.
A technological system would include the automobiles, the roads and highways used by the automobile, the service stations, the gasoline stations needed by the automobile, the traffic lights which control the automobile, and so on and so on. So the system consists of the various components that make it possible, we might say, for the artifacts to fulfill their mission.
I think technology has two components to it. On the one hand, it's the hard artifacts, the machinery. Then on the other hand, it's the way we organize our world. So that tied to technology, I think, is a very, very strong sense of organizing to get something done, hence a very strong sense of controlling.
Early 20th century America was the era of the systems builders. Henry Ford was the most idolized of his time. He came from the tradition of rationalism. Rationalism is the belief that the human mind can discover innate laws which govern the workings of the universe. As early as the 18th century, philosophers believed that the application of those laws could eliminate disorganization and lead to limitless material progress. Voltaire.
Reason and industry will progress more and more, and the evils that have afflicted men will gradually disappear.
The rational method is deeply rooted in our Western culture. For me, it really starts with the Greeks and the idea that you didn't understand something unless you can state it explicitly. Now, if you can state something explicitly, it follows that you can write a law for it or rule. At the root of it seems to me, is the desire to eliminate uncertainty.
Early 20th century America was a place of great uncertainty. Cities were overwhelmed with migrants from the country and immigrants from abroad, all struggling to make ends meet. The nation was in a deep economic slump and was ripe for a revolution. Instead of riots, it got the Model T, the motor car for the great multitude.
Fordism responded to the needs of the time. People were craving for material goods, and Ford provided it for them in an automobile that they could afford and use.
But the Model T wasn't just remarkable for how it changed American life. It was a remarkable piece of technology. Almost every part of the Model T represented an improvement in automotive design. The steel frame of the Model T gave it both lightness and strength. Bumps were never a problem. Sinking in mud was the exception, not the rule. The alignment of the wheels to the frame allowed for extreme turns and good ground clearance. Easy to get out of tight places. The engine block was made from a one-piece casting, and its top, the cylinder head, was a separate cast component. Easy to maintain and more reliable. The T had 2 forward gears and 1 reverse, all operated from floor-mounted pedals. Simple to handle. The Model T was so remarkable that the company could advertise the car to everyone. It was user-friendly technology. But some saw more in Ford than a friendly automobile. The Mexican muralist Diego Rivera painted these murals in 1934 for the Detroit Institute of Art. Rivera featured the Ford River Rouge plant outside Detroit. He painted the workers and the machines they used, not the car.
The Rivera murals talk, on the one hand, about the same kind of exaltation in very sophisticated technological systems that Henry Ford's moving assembly line said to everyone who came to see it. And that is, what an incredible achievement this is. So when you look at the murals, one of the things you see is the wonder of the magnificent machine or the magnificent system. So from one point of view, Henry Ford represents the triumph of rationality over nature, disorganization, old habits of manufacturing, transformer of the world, the bringer of the modern world. He was simultaneously a liberator of ordinary Americans because the Model T could get them around. And he was also presiding over a system so complicated and so intimidating that he dwarfed ordinary people. He represents technology, both as that which helps and that which dominates.
Today, the Ford Motor Company's River Rouge plant is still the largest Ford plant in the world. It employs 10,000 people and produces 90,000 cars and trucks a year. But it's a fraction of its former size. In 1935, it was colossal. It produced almost 2 million cars and trucks a year. It said something about its owner and about what systems need.
Henry Ford was obsessed with control. One of his managers made a decision to start digging the foundation hole for a new building. And Ford came along and said, "I didn't tell you to do this today. Fill it back in." So it was just the right thing to do, but because it hadn't come from his lips, he didn't want it done.
Henry Ford had a need to control other people. And as a result of this motive of his to control, he created an assembly line and a method of production that, in fact, specified and controlled exactly what people were supposed to do. But we should not forget that it was this method of production, besides controlling others, made it possible to produce a car at a low price.
In 1908, the year the Model T was introduced, it sold for $825. The factories made 27 cars a day. In 1923, the year the Rouge was completed, the price had dropped to $395. The plant produced over 2,000 cars a day.